You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Let's do this.
I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
Let's do this.
It is time for Happy Hour. It is a Man Cave Happy Hour, whiskey, cigar, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
Hey, I'm Matt Fox.
And we are at the Stray Cat.
Yes, we are, man.
Yes.
Well, welcome.
Yes, back to the Stray Cat. I think it was episode number 2 that we did here.
Yes, we did. And tonight's kind of full circle for us a little bit because our very first show, we did a very special cigar, and it happened to be Rockey Patel. But tonight, we actually, at the Stray Cat, we are actually invited to be here.
Yeah, and a lot of times we just burst into bars and just plant ourselves down.
Hey, we're doing a show.
We're doing a show here today, and it's like, but today we were actually invited. They wanted, I don't know why, but they wanted us to be here, and they invited in a friend. Rob from Rockey Patel is with us. Rob, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here and, of course, hang out at the Stray Cat and have a good drink and a good smoke and be with some friends and
I like it.
Have some good conversation.
Yeah,
Steve, thanks for making us welcome in your place again.
No problem. This is Scott from Stray Cat.
Scott,
Thanks everybody for coming in and making this our little man cave area.
No, you and Jackie have always been very, very gracious, having us here and, supporting the Man Cave and just being here with you and with Jackie, and with all your patrons here. I just thank you very, very much.
Putting up with us taking over the corner, and we have the godfather of cigars in Michigan, Paul from Cigar Smokers in Michigan. Yes, I got that right?
Paul Camilleri from Cigar Smokers of Michigan.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having me.
You guys just hit a milestone as well.
We did have a milestone earlier this month, 2,000 members.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's great.
That's fantastic. That's one of the beautiful things about the industry. The way, people like Paul keep us all connected and, it's amazing. It's a beautiful aspect.
They do these fun little herfs and they get-togethers and, no matter what the weather, we're having fun.
Like to visit our brick and mortars down here in Michigan and come and visit everybody every once in a while.
And you have you do YouTube videos and you put them
I
on
do
the
video
Facebook,
reviews
right?
on our website.
Yeah.
So it's
give you a little flavor tasting. Yeah.
Yep. I get people who agree with me, disagree with me, say I'm full of crap, and it's all good.
Right.
So, but because we're lucky today, we got Rob Wilson from Rockey Patel, and Rockey Patel, you guys are doing something kind of neat, kind of interesting, a big championship. What's the new deal with Rockey Patel and smoking world class?
Well, the Cigar Smoking World Championship. This event, right?
It's real.
Right.
It's awesome.
Well, it's been an
It's
event.
like, honey, I'm going to the World Championship.
Right, exactly, exactly.
What is it?
Well, it's been going on.
Here we
Right,
go.
it's been going on in Croatia. It's been going on in Croatia for some years now, and what it is, it's a slow smoking contest. So the championship, the competition, they have a special size that they created called the Mareva, which is a 5 1/8 by 42 size cigar, Corona-ish.
Okay.
And but they call it the Mareva, and the idea is you light the cigar. Everybody lights the cigar, and it's whoever can make it last the longest wins this championship. And it's still very new to a lot of people here in the States.
Yeah.
But through knowing someone who's gone over to Croatia to be involved in the championship, that's how I first learned about it. And now, Rockey is the official cigar. So we actually have a blend that we created for this event.
So the tobaccos are a special blend. The size is a special size.
Exactly.
All right. And everybody's smoking the same.
Absolutely.
Same thing. Okay.
Absolutely. So and Rockey, wanting to bring the fun over stateside, came out with a great idea. So at lounges all across the U.S., he is holding cigar smoking world championship events, and the winners of all the events across the U.S. will convene in Pittsburgh at the Burn by Rockey Patel in Pittsburgh for the championship of the U.S. and then the U.S. champion will be flown over to Croatia to battle the rest of the world.
And that is unlike the World Series of
Yeah.
baseball, which is just
Right?
teams in the
I mean,
US.
it's one of those-
This is a real world championship.
Absolutely. And kind of the cool thing about it is, I always say it, I sometimes sound hokey, but I really do like and respect the man that I work for. I love what he's done for the industry and what he continues to do for this industry. But then sometimes, just as a member of this industry, I look at certain things he does and I'm like, wow, what a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? And that's kind of this. I mean, what a brilliant idea to bring something like this stateside,
Right.
For all of us to get involved with and enjoy the fun. I mean, everybody likes a good competition, right?
Yeah.
And so he takes this, and we have a championship here in the U.S., and then we send you over to hopefully, take on the world.
What actually do you win? A ring, a belt?
Well, they
Stars for life?
That's a great question. What do you
your
get?
name up in lights somewhere. I mean, in
You got
the
to go to
U.S.
Pittsburgh, and then you got to go to Croatia.
Yeah, that's
There's-
right. Absolutely. Now there are prizes that Rockey has for the events across the U.S. Like certain cigar cases, commemorative stuff that's specific to these events, and also for the championship here stateside.
Sure.
So specific prizes, humidors, carriers, that kind of thing. And then over in Croatia, I got to be honest. You caught me with something I'm not sure of, but it's.
You were describing it, and I had flashbacks to watching the movie Beer Fest.
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
going to walk into the secret room.
I'm not that drunk.
That's funny.
So, all right. So there are different events around this around. And in Michigan, if people want to find out, or wherever people are listening, can they go to the Rockey Patel website and find out where these events are taking place?
Absolutely. Yeah. There. For this leg, because it was just thrown together this year. I know there aren't any events scheduled in the Michigan area.
Okay.
But next year, I would imagine there will be. Obviously, we'll want to reach as many locations as possible.
Sure.
And
If someone from Michigan wanted to go, because Pittsburgh isn't that far, and
That's
are
a
there is there
5.5
anything in
hour drive
Ohio?
from here, man.
Ohio has some smokers in it.
right.
Is there any?
Are there championships in Ohio? Or
Yeah.
no, there's no competitions in Ohio
But
either.
if you go to the website, you can find out where they're happening.
absolutely. Yeah, there is a list.
Vegas? Come on, give me a reason to go to Vegas.
I'm not sure. I know that
We'll check the website.
The
You don't have to.
competitions, I want to say, start this weekend down in Texas.
Okay, wow, right on.
If I remember the list
gonna be so
correctly,
close to
it's down in
Texas.
Texas. Is where
Really,
they're
I'm gonna be
starting.
so
See you
close.
there.
So, all right. So, Rob, what is there any tricks to a slow smoke to keeping it going?
Practice.
Practice? Is it a smaller cut? Is it a drier cigar?
I got to
Is
be
it
honest.
a wetter cigar? Is it
I typically don't like to smoke them slow,
lick it a lot, it's-
that's the thing is this is very specific. There's a list of rules
you can't.
that you have to follow
You were
while
showing
smoking.
me these
Deep
rules.
throat.
Yeah.
They're incredible. They get into the
Rules.
nitty gritty.
You
We
only-
don't need no
We
rules.
don't need no rules. You only get 2 matches. So basically, if you don't get your cigar lit accordingly with those 2 matches, you're done. There's no relights.
There's no relight. Okay.
If I remember correctly,
Can you like
have
stick
to,
it with a toothpick and hold it like the hobos used to in the Bugs Bunny cartoons?
right? I wonder. But the people who have been doing this, like I said, I know a gentleman from actually Kentucky.
All right.
He was the first one who told me about this event, and he was saying it's really specific, and people really dedicate their time to training for this event.
So in Croatia, what's besides bragging rights, do we know? Is there a big brand world? Is there a ring? Is there a do we know?
We're looking.
Swag bag? Yeah.
A swag bag, yeah,
Swag bag.
exactly. Like I said, I know in the U.S. we have different products, like cutters and special humidors designed.
Nice.
But when for the Croatian championship, I'm not sure exactly
Okay.
what that prize is.
All right.
Yeah.
But it's just the fun of it, really.
Absolutely.
It's gotta be.
Absolutely.
So, Paul, you were you smoke. How many sticks in a week would you say you smoke, Paul?
In a week,
Yeah.
20 easily.
20.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it.
Do you smoke in your car?
Yeah, that's it.
He's a beginner, folks. He's a beginner.
So, Paul, is there any? So, when you smoke, do you try to make it last, or is there a way when you're smoking a cigar?
You know, I've never timed myself.
Okay.
You know, this is
Start training now, man. You need to start training now.
Exactly.
New frontier for me. You know, I've never heard of this, and I was like, now I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So the slow smoke. So what do you know? Like some of the times, like what a good time for like making the cigar last is.
You know, this is something. It's very new.
And the size is new.
That was the first thing when you're saying about the slow smoke. That was the first thing that came to mind is, what are we considering a slow smoke?
Slow
are we
smoke,
taking 4, 5, 6 hours? I mean, is it longer?
However long it takes to make it
Because to
last.
me, you know, I'll get a Toro size, and that's probably a good 2.5 hours smoke.
Sure.
And I'm hearing the size that he's given me, you know, which 5 3/4, 48 ring gauge? 42?
5 1/8 by 42.
Yeah, that's not a big cigar.
No,
Right.
No, not at
This
all.
probably keeps it a reasonable
Dog-walking
time
cigar.
length. So
Yeah, it is.
Exactly.
It's really a dog walking cigar. So
all right.
You know, that's usually a 45-minute to an hour smoke, maybe.
Okay,
And
so if you can, all right. So
you know,
an
if you're
hour.
telling
would
me,
be
if you're telling me all of a sudden, you know, these guys are making it last 3 to 4 hours.
Mentally, that's a
intriguing.
lot of practice.
Oh, it sounds like one of those poker tournament marathons. You know?
Okay. But there's no buy-in. There's no rebuy-in on this one.
Yeah. So you know, roughly they have like last year there was roughly 250 competitors in Croatia doing this. As I'm googling as we sit here.
That's the thing, just kind of building some excitement and some fun around the brand and around the
Right.
hobby.
Actually, yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, look, just being blunt, in the day and age of, you know, the FDA and some of the fun being sucked out of the industry, it's nice to come up with new ideas, you know, and again, just, I mean, we smoke cigars for that hour-long vacation, right? I mean, that's the idea of it. You smoke that cigar, you have that break from, you know, the trials and tribulations of your day-to-day life, and when you can put another fun aspect to it, I mean, what better can you ask for?
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So, all right, so I have in front of me the Rockey Patel Royale.
Yes, sir.
It's the Royale with cheese. No, so it's just the Royale.
The Royale, yes. It's the Marriage of the Vintage series. It's a beautiful cigar.
And this is, I'm learning as we go.
Very good. I'm so proud of you, James.
This is a box press. It's a little squared off,
You
right?
are correct.
Is this a
Yes,
box
sir.
press?
I'm so proud of you,
I
man.
know. I learn shit now and again.
Yeah, it's you know, as we say, you know, smoking is something that's very personal.
Yeah.
You know, the size of the cigar, the cut of the cigar, you know, round or box pressed, you know, obviously the different wrappers and fillers, you know, location. So many different, you know, nuances go into why and how we smoke what we smoke. So yeah, and with that one, beautiful box press, Sumatra wrapper. Again, Marriage of the Vintage. So the Sumatra wrapper, like the Vintage 1992.
Okay.
And then the binders, it's got a dual binder, which is a Connecticut shade, like the Vintage 99, and a Connecticut broadleaf, like the Vintage 1990. And then the filler, as the Vintage series is, Nicaraguan filler.
Okay. So how long has the Royale been part of the Rockey Patel line?
The Royale, that came out, I want to say, if I remember correctly, it was 8 years ago-ish. I think it was about 8 years ago, if I remember correctly. It was before my time with the company.
Okay.
But,
so it's a standard with the company?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The number 5 cigar of 2014. Delicious, you know, toasty, creamy smoke. It's wonderful. Me personally, it's my go-to bourbon cigar.
Huh.
Absolutely.
So the Sumatra wrapper, you know, it's a darker wrapper than anything else.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So we need a flame if
Can
we
I get
could.
a flame from
Yeah,
you?
we
I
need
wanna
flame.
flame this
Absolutely.
puppy up while we're...
So the wrapper itself, the wrapper on a cigar really adds to the flavor of what you're
Absolutely.
tasting. So,
Absolutely. They say, you know, the wrapper is, you know, 80% of the flavor.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, and actually, there's something I always like to touch on. It's one of the things people talk about, and I'm going to segue a little bit.
Please.
Like the sizes of cigars. You know, you have your thin Lanceros, you have your 60 gauge, and of course the Toros and Robustos that you see most commonly, right? And a lot of people always talk about with the wrapper of the cigar, that's where, again, all the flavor comes from. Right. So with the larger ring gauges, people talk about, you're not getting as much flavor from that cigar. But I'm like, it has the same wrapper that any other size has, right? So at least in my experience, and people can comment and argue with me all day long, but it's not the like the filler to wrapper ratio that constitutes how much flavor you get from it. It's how you draw. As I was saying earlier about cigar smoking being personal, the size, the cut, all that. Well, if I don't draw big, then I'm not going to want to smoke a 60 gauge cigar, because as I draw on that cigar, I'm probably not going to connect with that wrapper as much as I would, say, a Corona. But if I draw big, I don't want to smoke a Corona because I'm going to burn it out. So that's what I mean, is finding that balance, because, you want to, as you're drawing, the idea is to connect, have the air drawn down the wrapper so it's picking up more flavor. Huh. Yes.
And that's always the argument I've heard is the ratio of filler to wrapper.
Right.
And, again, I totally agree with you. It's all about, your personal preferences, how you draw.
Right, absolutely. Well, because the ratio, I mean, obviously it changes, but it's pretty much the same depending on the size. If you have a smaller gauge cigar, you have less filler, but you also have less wrapper. A big 60 gauge cigar or even the 70s and whatever craziness goes on past that, you have a lot of filler there, but you have a lot of wrapper as well. It's all about that connection. It's all about how you draw on it that determines how much flavor you get.
Huh.
I've had more luck. I have really bad luck when I'm smoking cigars.
Okay.
Inevitably, for whatever reason, Matthew and I will be out. We'll each get cigars. Mine will boat on me.
Okay.
But I've had more luck with the box pressed cigars not boating on me.
Interesting.
Than I've had with other cigars.
Yeah.
And because we'll both get cigars out of the same box. We'll go to
right.
a place and do a show and do a recording and grab cigars. Mine's boating away and his is fine. And
yeah.
I'm like, I hate you.
I know what I'm doing, supposedly.
Right.
But I've had more luck with the box press.
Right.
Is that just, I don't know. Is it I just have bad luck or what?
That's honestly, it's one of those things when people talk about the issues they have with cigars. You try to be gentle because you don't want to say, well, it's your fault. But typically, I mean, it's your fault.
Yeah.
You have the brain, the cigar doesn't. And if you are having a burn that's off, you've got to use that lighter and touch it up.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't frown upon a cigar because it's burning unevenly.
Yeah.
People talk about the oils.
It doesn't have the brain.
Because we do this frequently.
Yeah. Right.
And it's me, It's like, my girlfriend's told me.
It's you. It's not me. It's you.
No, it is. But it was me. It usually was me. So,
folks will talk about, the oil in your fingers. If you're touching the cigar, it's going to make it burn a different way.
So many different factors.
Yeah.
The oil on your fingers, the way it's lit. Again, how you draw, where sometimes if cigar's sitting, even if it's out of the same box, if it's in that certain place in the box where the humidity just kind of sat there, and maybe it's settled on the bottom of that cigar. Has so many different factors. Wow. And that's why, again, as responsible cigar smokers.
Yes,
we've got to take care of the cigar.
Yes, you do.
Well, I see it doing it. I'm like, all right, I got to fix this baby, and
absolutely, yeah. And, it's a natural product, And look, not just the Rockey Patel brand, but everybody out there. I mean, their checks and balances are top notch. I always say, we are living in the best era of cigar smoking. Because the checks and balances of the cigar industry, especially to the U.S. market, and we're picky, right? Yeah. I mean, we demand quality in most everything in life, and these companies realize that, so their checks and balances are top notch. So they're providing you with quality cigars, quality rolls. Like the Rockey Patel factories, we draw test every cigar that comes, that in a Rockey Patel box has been draw tested to make sure you're getting a good draw from it. But that said, through transit, sitting in a humidor or sitting in your car for so many different factors.
In your glove box.
Right. Well,
in the UPS truck on the house.
Exactly.
0 degrees outside.
Right. Well, I deal with that all the time. Being the rep, I have my samples that I'm bringing in to share with people to, promote the brand. And, sometimes if, here in the Midwest, if I'm hitting those, cold, frigid temperatures, if I have my cigars in the car just for the day, that's all it takes is for that temperature to hit the cigars briefly. And that, as I say, that leaf gets bit.
Oh.
So, if you light that up, if you light that up and, that heat starts moving through there, if that leaf is bit, I mean, it's going to, obviously when things are cold, they compress. When things are heated, they expand. Well, if the leaf's not ready to be expanded, it's going to crack.
Right.
And it has so little to do with the quality of the cigar itself. There's so many other factors that are going to, lay into that. Right. So, again, it's just being an aware smoker. Right. That's it,
That's why a lot of times when I get mine, I'll put them in the humidor and let them rest.
Absolutely. Well, I do that often when I'm doing events, and I bring in cigars. So if you buy a box of cigars, you get this and that, and usually cigars are part of that giveaway. So, but again, a lot of times I'm traveling, and those cigars have been bit by the cold in my car, and so when I hand them those cigars that they got for their purchase, I'm like, don't smoke this one now. Hold on to this. Put it in the humidor. Let it rest. Or if I'm doing events and I'm sending cigars to a shop, I always want them to be there at least 3 to 4 days prior to the event, and I ask everybody, put them in the humidor. Scott, let them rest before we sell them to the customers, because then everybody's going to come up to me. This is cracked. This is canoe. This is why are your cigars? And it's like,
It's not us, it's you. I didn't say that.
It's or Mother Nature.
Yes.
Let's blame it on her.
What we try to do here is when we bring in cigars, we try to keep an extra box so it's sitting there, it's acclimated, or it's sitting in there resting for a while before we open it up, before the customers get it. So as much, we try to do that here too.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, so we're at the Stray Cat. One of the things that we were talking earlier, Rob, one of the things I really enjoy about what Rockey Patel does is they want to make sure they're touching base with their customers, with their clientele.
Absolutely.
Right? So being here at the Stray Cat, Scott, you guys, how many faces, it's called Faces, right?
Correct.
Yeah, how many faces of Rockey Patel do you have here at the Stray Cat that folks can, roughly, I don't know.
About 30, 35.
So that's a lot of faces to try the Rockey Patel brand itself. So that's one of the things I really enjoy about what Rockey Patel does is, that clientele outreach and making sure that you're taken care of, so then you can take care of your patrons that are here that enjoy the Rockey Patel brand.
And by Rob swinging by too, he takes a look at what we have and what we should have, so we can rotate different things within the humidor to make sure we have what the latest and greatest that the customer's looking for.
Absolutely, and that's one of the best part of the industry is when you have great partners to work with, and you can pop in and you can look at the humidor, the inventory, say, well, this one's moving, but this one's maybe lagging a little bit. It's always interesting to me, it's consumerism, period. I mean, it's retail, so consumerism in a whole. Something that will sell great in one spot won't sell for nothing, 15 miles down the road.
Sure.
And it's just the way it goes.
They're micro markets almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very much.
Well, Scott, this is like the second location you've had, right? You were down in the Grosse Pointe area. Now
Correct.
we're further northern suburb of Detroit. What have you found to be different from your clientele from the Grosse Pointe?
Well, actually,
your clientele.
I'm finding the era of cigar smoking has changed. When we first were in the other location, we were there from 2000 to 2012.
Yeah, so it's been.
And we found that there was a huge spike towards up to I'm saying 2008, 2009, and then we saw personally over there cigar smoking seemed to drop off a little bit for various reasons. Part of it I think was economics, and part of it I think was different rules and regulations.
Yeah.
When we moved to this location, I found that we're taking off every day. We're bringing in new types of cigar smokers. I'm finding about a third of the people that come in here are experienced, know what they want, may even have their own cigar.
That's because they listen to our show.
Yeah, because they listen to our show. About a third of the people, I'd say, are more the typical smoker that either reads the magazines or takes recommendations from other people, but they are more the casual smoker. But I also see about a third of the people that are coming in here are new to the market period, and I'm finding it both female and a younger clientele that are coming in. And yes, some of them like some of the flavored cigars or smaller cigars, but overall I'm seeing a new generation of younger people and including females coming in and smoking cigars and asking questions about it, whether it's to us or other customers that they see smoking cigars and trying to get some insight. And then I find that they go from a certain type of, I call it a beginner entry-level cigar, that the next time you see them or 2 or 3 weeks down the road, you see them again, they're now going into something a little different.
A little braver,
I would say
a little bolder.
I'd say is more mainstream.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's the beauty of our group, Cigar Smokers of Michigan. We have anywhere from newbies to guys who've been smoking 20, 25 years.
Or smoking 20 in a week.
Yeah, or smoking 20 in a week or more. And we always have questions. It's always, it's not just the newbies asking questions. It's, people will post pictures of their cigars online.
Absolutely.
And, oh my God, how did that taste? What did you think about it?
Right.
And, I didn't like it. You get responses, from some people, oh, that's a horrible cigar, to, oh my God, I smoke that daily. I love that cigar.
Absolutely. And we're referencing the same blend all the time. Yeah. Different strokes, different folks.
I think I posted a picture of a cigar I was smoking after I mowed the lawn, and I'm like, hey, I'm enjoying a cigar. And then Paul chimes in, that's a lawn mowing cigar. That's not even worth your time.
Well, and you did it while you were mowing your lawn, right?
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
I have those myself. There's some my wife was like, why do you buy those? And I'm like, because they cost me $1.50 a stick.
Right.
If I drop it in the lawn and run over it with the lawnmower, I don't care. It's not the $10 stick that I'm going to be on the back patio with later on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm the same way, Obviously, as a rep, that's one of the perks of the job is I have cigars at my disposal. But even with the Rockey Patel lineup, I've smoked everything Rockey Patel, and I have my favorites of them, and some that I'm not going to necessarily pick out if I have options.
But as a rep, you have to have that opinion as well.
Absolutely. I like to think I've got a pretty okay palate. I'm not always going to sit there and be able to nail every note and nuance that is in that blend. Mm-hmm. But I can pick up certain, aspects of it.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, even stuff that isn't something that I would smoke, as I say, on purpose, I can still smoke it and say, that's a good blend. I can see why people would enjoy that if they have that certain, flavor profile. Like typically for me, if it's a peppery cigar, I'm not going to smoke it. It's not my go-to.
I agree
But
with
if
you.
there is some pepper and maybe a sweet, creamy balance to it, all of a sudden I'm like, it's
it's not too bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get surprised, and it's just like everything else. My palate changes.
Yeah.
What I've eaten that day, what I want to drink with it. Obviously, the pairings. It is an artisanal product. Just like our coffees and our bourbons and our wines, and it's fun to put those things together and do something different.
Well, I have to admit, when you told James about his cigar and it has a Sumatra wrapper, all of a sudden my ears perked up because I'm a Sumatra Cameroon wrapper kind of guy.
Okay, absolutely.
I was like, okay, what do you got over there? Oh, okay, I'm going to have to check that one out.
All right, so since you said that, I'm going to, personal favorite of mine is, I also like a Cameroon cigar. Pairings-wise, me personally, a rye whiskey with a Cameroon wrapper.
Ooh.
If you're a fan of either or both, try that. Yeah. I think the flavors that come out of that Cameroon due to that rye are delicious.
That's a great
Absolutely.
segue.
You said this was Connecticut wrapper. Is there
No, it's a Sumatra wrapper.
With it has a Connecticut shade and a Connecticut broadleaf binder.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, because there is some rye whiskey sitting on the table.
Yeah, which is a great segue because you're talking about.
Go with this?
Actually, I'm surprised how well I think this actually is pairing. This is this Traverse City limited edition barrel proof at 55.92%.
Only.
And I was expecting when I first sipped it that it was going to burn my throat. It's actually not. I'm finding this is actually a really good pairing with the cigar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah. I gotta.
Yeah, we gotta try that.
Your girl down and get a glass with some ice in it.
Actually, I got a glass right here in front of me.
There we go.
So Scott, here at the Stray Cat, right? It's the experience is a lot more than the cigars, right? You have a great selection of spirits on the shelf.
True. This isn't just a typical cigar lounge.
And then it's a party every night of the week too.
That's
yes,
true.
It is.
We're more of a bar that's cigar friendly because we have 20 tap beers. We have tons of different whiskeys, bourbon, scotches. We have martinis, and we have live entertainment on
I was going to say, don't
Mondays,
forget that live music.
On Mondays, Thursdays, Friday, and Saturdays, as well as we have TVs for people to watch the sports. So on one end, we have the couches you can sit down and relax, but we also have chairs and high tops. So we have a broad mix of people that actually come in here. It's not just for cigar smoking, it's for entertainment value, and even including food. We do have a kitchen here with food, so you get a little bit of everything.
Yeah. See,
a
my
great
wife
menu,
is
too, by the way.
Not a big cigar smoker, and she just texted me, by the way. Here, let me give you an update. It is garbage night, honey. Make sure you clean out the cat box and get all the trash to the curb. So there you go. Colleen's checking in. Thank you, honey.
Love you.
She's in the middle of it. So remind me as I leave, I need to clean the cat box and take the trash out there. But she's not a big cigar smoker. And we were out and about, and we wanted to hear some live music. And I go, I know. And we were striking out. We were at a place down the street, and the band was just crap. And I was like, well, Stray Cat, like the weekends, they're pretty good for live music. Let's roll over there. She's like, it's a cigar bar. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not that smoky. She goes, it's a cigar bar. And so, but we came and it wasn't smoky. Because she does not suffer anything well. I can say whatever the hell I want because she doesn't listen.
Perfect.
It's like, see, I'm on the radio here in the city too, and it's like people are like, "Oh, I heard Jamie on the radio this weekend." And she goes, "Wasn't it funny when he said?" She's like, "I don't listen to him.
I have to listen to him every day and night.
Home,
I'm not listening to him on the
He's
radio."
out of the house, thank God. I'm turning him on.
Jamie's narcissistic enough to listen to himself anyway, so he knows what he sounds like.
No, but that's true that we do hear that sometimes from people that they're worried about coming in here, but the state does mandate a certain type minimum ventilation. So we took that ventilation over the top and not only exchange fresh air into the building and suck out the older air, but at the same time we also have 5 internal filters that are going all the time too to clean the air. So for many people it's very tolerable. So we do attract people that do not smoke that also come in here to enjoy the food or the entertainment.
Yeah, and she did. And we had a good time. We danced. We had a couple cocktails. I didn't smoke because, I was with the fun police. No, but we were dancing. We were out having a nice weekend night out.
Well, I have to admit,
we were having date night. So
the last time I came out to Stray Cat was for one of the CSOM HERFs. And it was one of our first HERFs. Even the people watching here, if you're not to the dancing thing, I was just kind of sitting back on one of the couches having a nice smoke, and the people watching's awesome.
Right. Well, the atmosphere here it's always great. Again, when you got a good live band, a couple drinks flowing, some good cigars to smoke. I mean, you're coming here to have a good time.
Yeah.
And, Scott and Jackie, they make sure that you're going to have a good time. Yeah. So it's the best of all worlds.
Yeah, you do find all kinds of people. We are 21 and over, but you'll find younger people, and you actually find people up into their 80s that come in here that are enjoying themselves. You find people in their suits, and you find people here in casual clothes, celebrating events, on dates, whatever. We have a lot of different things going on that welcome a lot of different kinds of people in.
So you have the Traverse City whiskey, right? So we're here in Michigan, and you pulled up the Traverse City whiskey. It's the rye. Now this is a special barrel one?
Correct. This is a barrel proof signature edition. That's why it has a much higher proof on it.
Okay. And this is just something you got through your distributor?
Yes, correct.
Right on. So I think we tried the Traverse City. We did the cherry one. They have a cherry because Traverse City is really
and that is very good.
The cherry festival.
Absolutely.
And so we tried the cherry expression of it, I don't think we've tried the barrel proof and the rye at that. So Matt's kind of doing a little quick Google search. He's going to come up with the mash bill and everything on this for us. But so pairing a rye with a cigar, what are we looking for? What are we looking to do?
Well, I mean, with any kind of pairing, at least, I mean, again, me personally, I don't want to pair the drink and the cigar to where they where they blend together.
Yeah.
I want them to complement each other.
Okay.
And, I think that's key, is the complements. So whether it's that Cameroon with the rye, or that Sumatra or whatever with the bourbon. Because let's be honest, I mean, cigars and bourbon.
Well, you got bourbon, coffee,
right?
Even like a Dr. Pepper.
Absolutely,
it's going to pair with anything.
Yeah, I have specific cigars that I have with my coffee. I have specific cigars that I like with my bourbon.
Yep.
I always talk about the Sun-Grown Maduro by Rockey Patel. Number 2 cigar, 2016, amazing blend. I honestly believe it's one of the best Maduros on the market. And if you drink a red wine, you want to smoke that cigar with a dry red. It's delicious.
Yeah.
A customer out in Wisconsin introduced me to that pairing, and I am thankful years later to that.
I found that when I'm doing a cigar, I mean, I love bourbons and whiskeys, and I like pairing those up, but I think I've had more fun pairing wines with cigars than I've had doing, the martinis or the bourbons. I think I've had more fun with the wines than I've had with the bourbons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wines.
Absolutely. Again, it's the artisanal nature of it. I mean, that different grape, that weight, how it was aged, everything about it, the region it was grown in, it all relates.
Well, I have to thank Jamie and Matt for having me out today, because I think this is the first time you guys have had me out where we're not drinking vodka.
Our friends from Zim's Vodka.
Yeah, our friends from Zim's Vodka, who we love, but...
Love you, Bruce.
Yeah, we love you,
Tio.
Paul, pair a cigar with this. Okay, where are the Connecticut wrappers?
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, there's certain things, tequila. It's another one of those where I find it difficult to pair something, because certain anything drinks wise, especially. I mean, if they have, or like me with a real peaty Scotch. If it's a peaty Scotch, that peat's gonna pretty much take over that cigar. Yeah. So you go easy. You go with like a Connecticut shade that's just creamy and just nice, and it just kind of blends in with it, and it's more for the experience as opposed to the actual pairing.
Right.
Well, I'm going to run off of Rob here, because I've got a Rockey Patel 15th anniversary, and I've paired that with a nice old-fashioned here.
Oh, absolutely. That Habano wrapper.
By the way, this was the number 20 cigar of 2018.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Yeah, actually, I think the 15th anniversary has been rated by Aficionado in their top 20 more than any of our other blends. I think that's been rated, I couldn't tell you the exact number of times, but fantastic blend.
Yeah, it's a beautiful blend.
Yeah. Well, Scott, here at the Stray Cat, you're mixologist. What kind of cocktail blends do they do? Do you guys come up with recipes, and what kind of specialty cocktails do you guys do?
We do have a signature menu that's in the process of being revamped right now. But we do have a bunch of specialty things that typically a bartender will come up with, and once it's proven to the customers, it goes on the menu. And right now we're going through one of those revisions, because the cocktail world has actually changed with a lot of different things, a lot of different bitters, and even the smoking products that you're putting smoke inside the glasses.
Yeah.
And that's something that actually we're going to very shortly to come up with some different signature cocktails that you could pair with your cigars.
Wow. So we were at a fancy speakeasy over in Royal Oak, and I was like, I'll get this smoked old fashioned. And it was really cool. The presentation was awesome. It was over smoked. I was like, pump the brakes a little bit on this. It was like I wouldn't order another one of them. I didn't enjoy it. It was overdone. It wasn't a cigar smoking event or place at all, but it was always kind of, it just really took away. I mean, because bourbon, it takes a lot to mask a bourbon. and it really did. It masked the bourbon, and I wasn't happy with it at all. But I do like. We were talking about Detroit City Distillery earlier, and they do some magnificent cocktails. I think their cocktails are drinking it straight is one thing. Doing up a cocktail is another altogether. And Swayze's on Roadhouse
in the background
on the TV.
above you.
So I'm sitting here trying to, be a part of the conversation, and in the background, Patrick Swayze,
Roadhouse,
great movie, and he just got
Sweaty Swayze.
Yeah, he's beating up the heavy bag here, and it's hard to stay in the conversation.
No. All right, but we're kind of going. We just have some ice to
an ice ball.
Make this friendly for us.
Yeah.
We got the Traverse City whiskey, the straight rye whiskey, and the barrel proof. Matt, what can you look up the mash bill on this might be?
The mash bill, the proof is what said 80, 159, 110%. It's going to be at least 50% corn. You're going to have a little bit of rye, the rye in there, barley. But on the Traverse City whiskey, you're going to get notes of mint, a little bit of minty notes in this as well.
I'm smelling sweet.
Are you smelling it sweet?
I haven't tasted it yet.
I'm finding that it tastes a little sweet to me.
I was expecting the rye. I was expecting like a spicier.
I was expecting a real burn, but there's no burn in this at all.
You might get a little citrus on that. That's where the sweetness is coming from.
Definitely some citrus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but you might get something that we don't talk about very often is toffee. We talk about caramel and vanilla, but you don't get toffee very often in a bourbon. You might get a little bit of toffee out of this Traverse City whiskey. There is the straight rye whiskey here. So I'm
really pleased with this.
What's that?
I'm really pleased with this. I'm actually surprised for being such a high proof. The flavor that's coming out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, that
burning me.
There's no burn at all. There's barely any burn, but it's gonna sit. It's sitting on the palate really, really nicely.
Very well.
And it lingers, and then now I'm starting to feel a little bit of caramel coming out of that palate at the same time. Even though I've been smoking on a cigar, I can still feel that caramel coming out of it.
There's something green in there too. On the second sip, maybe that might be that mint. It doesn't taste minty, but it's green. I got a not grassy green, but I'm getting a little bit of green.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. Yeah.
It's not minty. It's not grassy, but there's a green to it. So
oregano.
Oregano. Are you Italian?
I was just picking something
parsley.
green.
Dandelion leaves.
So that thing, Matthew and I, we don't purport to be professionals.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
I would have not picked up on that at all.
You know what? You got the man cave perfectly. That's exactly what it is.
We just like to hang out with some friends and enjoy what we enjoy.
Absolutely.
And then we love distillers and brand reps because the people that make it and the people that sell it, they say enjoy it how you enjoy it. You get with like some uptight aficionados that are
absolutely that is key. It's one of those things. Especially again when I'm doing events all the time, people will come up to me. Well, what do you like? What do you? I'm like, well, I mean, if you really want to know, I will tell you what cigars are, if you will, my favorites, my go-tos. But it's not about me. What do you want? I can share with you why I like a specific blend and why I like it maybe with this drink or this and that. But that's, again, it's me. What you like that's to be a completely different story. I always say, there's certain cigars where you line up 10 people and maybe 2 of them will get the same thing out of it. Everybody's going to get a different nuance. Some people aren't going to be able to pick up any of those changes, any of that complexity. They just get, something light, like, maybe a little bit of a sweetness or a little bit of that pepper, a little bit of that creaminess. They'll just get like one aspect of it, and they'll enjoy it just as much as the next guy who's picking up citrus and iron and and richness and leather and
pencil shavings.
It was something you touched on earlier. I do agree that it's very personalized, and I see that even from people that come in here. When people are pairing their cigars. You see some people even pairing it with like a milkshake stout beer.
Oh.
I see people still dipping their cigars in Grand Marnier or cognac
Yeah,
and things like
yeah.
that. But that's what they enjoy, and I don't say anything about it because that's how they like it.
Yeah.
So what Rob just said, it's about them, not about what I like. It's how they like it. So you see all different kinds
And then
of
you
things.
cater to that client.
Correct.
Absolutely. Well, it's another, one of those things, especially in the community that we have, people become, brand loyal, and obviously I'm loyal to my guys, again, Rockey Patel, I love the guy. I mean, what he's done for me, the industry, everything. Great guy. But there's tons of other cigars out there. And like I said, everybody's doing amazing stuff today.
Yeah.
So whether or not, your favorite brand is a Rockey Patel or whatever other brand that you choose, don't knock somebody else because they like this or that blend or anything, because, again, everybody's, into what they're into for whatever reason that would be.
You also seem to find that people have like a rotation of cigars. People just don't stick with one cigar and that's
Typically
all
not.
they smoke.
No.
People seem to have a handful of different types of cigars that either for their mood, their price range that they're in, whatever it happens to be, that they have different brands that they're loyal to that they kind of have as their back pocket kind of cigars that they really
They have their
like.
celebratory. They have their cigars that, well, you know what, I'm in mourning, or they have those types of cigars that are out there.
Yeah. I mean, me, because I'm in and out of lounges all day, every day, visiting customers, doing events, and a lot of the time, when I'm working, of course I'm smoking a cigar. But I'm also talking a whole heck of a lot. If you guys know me, yes. You know this.
Just met you, and I love it. I love
I'm like, Rob's coming in. You're going to love him. He's got a great voice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we was passing by in the parking lot, and he was like, hey. And I was like, hi. And it's
Hi.
like, and my voice squeaked. And I'm the professional broadcaster here with squeaky voice. And I was like, that must be Rob, because it's like he had that voice going.
But that's the thing is, so I have my go-to everyday cigars. The stuff that I can smoke while I'm working, while I'm having conversation. I know it's not going to burn out my palate. I get a good flavor from it, but I'm not sitting down and, as I will say often, I'm not nerding out on the cigar. I'm not sitting there trying to say, oh, well, it's, it started off with this and now it's changed up to this and now that. I'm not always thinking that. So I have my day-to-day go-to cigars that I just know I can have that conversation and enjoy my smoke, at least, somewhat, because again, I'm working and I'm talking, sometimes relighting it over and over again because I talk so much. But
So in other words, you would lose the slow smoke competition?
absolutely.
You stole my thunder,
I'm glad
Scott.
you picked
Thank
up
you.
on that.
That's great. Well done.
But then I also have those cigars where, when I do have a night at home, once or twice every 3 to 4 months, I get crazy, and I'll make a nice dinner, and I'll make sure I have a specific drink that's going to pair with my dinner, and then segue into the cigar, and as I will say, I get romantic with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's an event, and I'm looking forward to that. So, and I have that specific cigar, and I'm like, I can't wait to have that.
I do the same
feel
thing
you.
on certain holidays or birthday or Father's Day or whatever, New Year's. There's certain cigars that I like to say I splurge on, and those are the cigars I have on those days versus a
Absolutely.
dog walking cigar versus
Yeah.
a hanging out cigar or around the bonfire. So I have my range of cigars I like too.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I love it. Love it. I honestly, being here at the Stray Cat, being here with you, Rob, and with Scott, Paul, thank you. The camaraderie at the table is and the conversation has been absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely.
If you wanted to share with somebody what they would want to look for in a cigar, and what they would want to look for as a novice like myself, starting out, what would be a good starter for them?
As in a cigar blend?
Yeah,
you
cigar
mean?
blend. Where would they want to start?
Well, I always, especially when I'm doing events,
Yes.
and I get, people in, young or old who are new to smoking.
Yeah.
The quick go-to is always the Connecticut. A nice Connecticut shade. That's a great place to start. It's easy to palate, and I always say you don't want to burn somebody out on that first cigar, because if you burn them out, then you're losing a cigar smoker. If they're not enjoying that experience, they're not going to come back to it.
Right.
And that's the key. You want people to enjoy that initial experience, and then there's a bit of a graduation process. It's as I was saying earlier about the personalization of it, the size, the cut, all that's involved. Learn that.
Yeah, the V cut or the straight
cut or punch cut,
all those.
Learn that aspect of it, and then venture into that. Maybe a medium-bodied cigar, trying a Sumatra wrapper, a Habano wrapper, a San Andreas wrapper. Trying to pick out different flavors, see if you have that palate, and then once you determine certain flavor aspects that you like. Then if you want that extra body, then jump in. Get that extra body from a cigar. Get something with a little bit more Ligero in it. But then again, if you reach that medium bodied realm where you're trying all the different flavors and you're not tasting the nuances and this and that, then you don't necessarily have to buy the most expensive cigar out there that's touted to have this change up and that change up. There's plenty of nice $8 cigars that are available that are premium quality cigars. The Edge line, that's one of our top selling lines, and that's really what it's geared towards. The Maduro is what you expect from a Maduro. The Corojo, the Sumatra, the Habano, the Connecticut, even the Candela. It's everything that you expect from those wrappers and almost the essence of what those wrappers are. So if you're not looking for change ups and craziness out of a cigar, that's a good budget cigar to move into, because you're getting quality tobacco. You're going to get some flavor always.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting the nuances, then you don't need to be buying $20, $30 cigars.
Fair. It's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I agree.
So
when people
Rob,
come in here and they're looking for a cigar for the first time, that's what I typically steer them to, is something mild like a Connecticut, and typically a Robusto size. There's no reason to have them start smoking a long cigar when they start, because they just want to try it and see if they like it, and then move on from there. But Rob's right. You don't want to burn them out the first time that they're trying something.
And literally your mouth. I mean, if you haven't smoked a lot of cigars, I don't smoke 20 sticks a week. I might do 2 in a month. I'm not a heavy cigar smoker.
Yeah.
I drink like a mofo, but I teach high school. I drink like
you drink a lot,
but you actually literally it'll burn your mouth out if you're not accustomed to smoking a bit, and you have like a long cigar. You got a big cigar, a long cigar. That's the technical term for it, right? It'll burn you out
again, and it's not necessarily even the size of the cigar, even if it's a small cigar. And again, as I was saying earlier, if it's peppery, it's not my thing.
Okay.
You get a peppery cigar, and if there's some body in there, if that's not your thing, you're going to burn your palate out. And that's why, again, the Connecticut, everybody, unless they're I only smoke full bodies, which I love you guys too. But there's nothing wrong with that. Some people start out, I know people who start out with a full body for breakfast, but me, that's not my style. But that Connecticut is it's nice, it's easy, it's delicious. Like I always say, because I love the golf. I like to be out on a golf course swinging a club at a ball.
I get my money's worth because I get to hit it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. But like for me, I'm smoking, something mild. It might not be a Connecticut, but it's, that mild to barely medium. Yeah. Because, you're out there typically in the sun, maybe having a drink. Yeah. You're lowering your blood sugar. And, you don't want that heavy cigar because you're going to feel it. I've seen people,
Why
lose
can't I
their
hit
lunch
it straight anymore?
because you're high.
So Rob, we got in here and we jumped in and we just started right straight into the Rockey Patel and the championship thing that was going on.
Absolutely.
And I didn't dive into you personally. Rob, tell me about your childhood. But moreover, you were going to be a preacher.
Oh, who told you this?
Wasn't me.
Really?
We're gonna call
I didn't
out
even
our
know
friend
that.
Sean.
Wow.
Who outed you on that one?
He did.
Yeah, he did. So
Put me on
Rob,
blast.
tell me about your
wow.
childhood, Rob.
So,
For those of you that can't see, he is blushing right now.
yes,
of red. He's
I
turning
am a
up
shade
this.
of red at this moment. That bald head is there. Wow, way to go. Thanks, Sean. Thank you. Yeah, so I was born, my father was Air Force, so I was born
Army
an
brat here,
Air
too.
Force brat.
He's lived in about how
Absolutely.
many places have you lived? He was like in Alaska and in Washington and Pennsylvania.
Yeah, both parents retired military
Oh,
Air
wow,
Force,
okay.
so we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll digress afterwards.
All right.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
military brat.
So
child.
grew up military, and yeah, you know, I thought I had been called, and eventually determined it was the wrong number.
Sure.
You know, boop. So
It's God.
yeah.
This number has
So-
been disconnected.
So, but I followed Jesus's route and went into carpentry. And unfortunately, though, I mean, I loved the industry. I loved working carpentry. I loved seeing the fruits of my labor day in and day out. You know, it was nice to be able to stand there and look at that building and say, "Wow, this is what we built." Yeah,
That's awesome.
But my hands went bad. You know, I was 23 years old, and I could barely squeeze a tube of toothpaste. So I had to give it up. So I knew somebody, and they said, "Hey, we just." They had bought a division of the company that they worked for, so they were branching out on their own, and they needed somebody on the phone. They said, "Rob, you're a good talker. Get on the phones." I said, "Okay." So
That voice, though, man.
so I jumped on the phone, and eventually it was in the industrial machining component world. I was selling gearboxes and gear motors.
Thank you for clarifying that, because when I heard you were on the phones, I was thinking 1-800 number.
That'd be 1-900 number.
1-900.
My name is Rob. Hi, how you doing?
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis.
So, you know, after years of being on the phone, started going on sales calls and that kind of thing, and just really enjoyed just the sales aspect. I loved working with people, forming relationships, and helping people with whatever, you know, they needed help on. The relationships, that was the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
And then one of my friends had met Rockey many years ago and has been working with him for 15 years. So I was visiting him down in Naples, Florida, where our offices are. And I would go down there, and of course, he hung out with people from the office, so I got to know people at the office. I would go in, and, you know, when I was visiting, stop by, say hi, or, you know, when Burn Naples opened, I would stop by Burn and hang out, and and I just got to know the guys. And, you know, and it was one of those where the industry that I was in had changed, internet. I mean, you know, it was engineering, so everything went online.
Yeah.
And so the fun of the relationships was really dying, because everything was just information transfer.
Right.
You know, the calculations could be done with a program.
Yeah.
You know, and I became a high-paid customer service person, and I was actually in Florida and stopped by the office, and Rocky's vice president of sales, David Bullock, called me in his office, said, and we just started talking, and it's been 5.5 years, almost 6 years now. Wow, almost 6 years.
Right on.
And you know, it was one of those. I you know, not married, no kids, and it was a caution to the wind kind of move. Best decision I had ever made.
That's awesome.
Best decision. I always say, for myself, you know, my personality type, to have fallen into an industry like this that is built on that camaraderie, that brotherhood, sisterhood as well, as we speak of. You know, I mean, that's everything of who I am.
Yeah.
You know, and I love it. You know, we always say, you know, rep life isn't easy. You know, you're on the road every day. You know, you spend more time in a hotel than you do in your own bed. Wow. And those days get long. But the positive of that is the community.
Yeah.
You know, so even though you aren't at home, and I'm using quotation fingers when I say home, you know, all those other locations become an extension of your home because you are with friends, you are with that extended family, and that's what this industry is built on.
So it's kind of like you're already in the military then.
Yeah.
Yes, in a sense. Yeah, absolutely.
The Rockey Patel Army. There is an artistry. Now, most people, it's coming in as a novice coming in, I didn't see the artistry in it, but as I get more and more into the hobby, you see the artistry that is in here, and as a woodworker, as a carpenter, I'm sure you can bring that out to your clients. That's probably a huge plus for you.
Absolutely. I mean, and all the manufacturers out there. I mean, I always say a cigar purchase, it's very personal. Between the labels on the bands, the labels, the boxes, there's something very personal about that purchase. You walk into a humidor, and you're looking at all these options. Something's going to jump out at you, right?
Whether it be the wrapper or the label on the cigar itself.
Absolutely. So something is going to grab you personally, and that's such a key component. Obviously you want that wrapper on the cigar to be nice, have a good sheen to it.
Sure.
That wrapper that says, "Hey,
that's actually legible."
Absolutely. Exactly.
Thank you, sir.
You are correct. It's going to jump out at you at some way, and again, that adds to the personal touch of the blends. Yeah. And that's why there's so many options.
Yeah. Well, you guys, just thank you so much for the camaraderie.
Absolutely.
Rob, thanks for the smoke and the information.
Yeah.
Scott, thank you for having us here in the poor of the
Thanks.
Traverse City. That was amazing. Appreciate it, Paul. We love having
Always
you, man.
a pleasure,
He's just
guys.
a wealth of knowledge.
Hey,
we always pull Paul in because we have no bloody idea what we're doing. We're talking about cigars. Holy crap, Paul! Help!
Hey,
The
Paul.
fact that we could say we adopted a godfather, it just warms our heart. It really does.
Well, it's funny, Jamie had mentioned, as he's doing this now as a hobby more and more, you're looking at different things on the cigars, you're getting more interested in it. I've reached the point now that it's not only about the cigars, but I like looking into the people behind the cigars.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now I'm smoking a Rockey Patel. I want to know more about Rockey Patel, or if I'm smoking an Iroha, I'm what's Christian doing?
Absolutely.
So it's funny as you get more and more into this industry, into this hobby, how much more you're going, wow, there's people behind these cigars, who are they?
Absolutely.
What motivates them?
There's such a history to this industry.
Yeah.
And as I touched on earlier, in the world of the FDA and, government regulations hitting the industry, and this becoming more, it's corporate America. Let's be honest, everything moves into that. And that's what we always try to hold on to. We try to hold on to the history of this industry, the beauty of this industry. The documentary. Paul, what's the documentary that came out last year? Right.
I know the one you're thinking of.
Right. There's an amazing documentary that came out.
I almost need to feel get my phone out and do Google it. But,
it's driving me crazy that the name escapes me. But it talks about where we all, if you will, we came from. What brings us all here, and the owners and the reps.
Well, if you're lucky enough even to
rollers.
visit a facility to see the rollers and the people that are harvesting and all the people behind it that are actually making it for you.
Yeah. As Rockey always touts, from seed to smoke, as a couple of the audience guys here chimed in. They just recently went on the Rockey Patel factory tour, and I remember the first time I went there, you walk away from it, and sure, again, as a salesman, as a rep for the product, it's great to go there and learn about the procedures, how things are rolled, how things are packaged, how things are blended, all that stuff. But also just to see the families that are involved, the people who take such pride in this product. It's one of those... one of our products, the LB1 that we just started releasing last year, a fantastic blend. One of the cool things that we do on the boxes is whoever rolled that cigar, they sign the box.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And not to be a company guy, but I loved what that brought. Again, that personalization. It just, this is, whatever name you read off of that box, you're like, this is somebody in another country, doing this to feed their family, to pay their mortgage, and this is if you will, a gift from them. And just, again, that personalization that it offers. It's amazing.
Well, and you see how many people are in the industry that third generation, fourth generation.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, it's one of those things where you get involved in this industry, it's hard to leave. I honestly, I couldn't imagine doing anything else. It's a beautiful thing to be a part of. And hopefully we hold on to that. As the FDA gets involved, as things become a little bit more corporate America. I hope the consumer continues to recognize the history, the essence of where we all started, why this became a thing, and why it's something that the families from Cuba left Cuba to continue in Honduras and Nicaragua and the Dominican. They left for a reason, because they wanted to continue that legacy and bring it worldwide. And then again, the second, the third, the fourth generation, those people were carrying on the legacy of their fathers and their grandfathers and their mothers, and and the people just working in the factories, and that's, again, we have the brotherhood. And when you leave an event, not necessarily a sales event or anything like that, but when you're out and you're smoking and you're communing with, the group of people around that table, you leave there, and hopefully you've left with something. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. Hopefully you've made a connection with somebody, with a friendship, a future boss, whatever it is, but you leave with something. And you're going to carry that with you. That's this industry.
And when you talk about camaraderie, that's something I find too outside of, let's say, a cigar bar. You go out skiing, for example, and you light up a cigar. All of a sudden now there's 5-6 other guys around you, and what's common bond is a cigar. Now you start talking, then you leave as friends.
Absolutely.
You're talking my language. I leave for New Mexico, going to Tawas here in a couple of days. I plan on taking a few sticks with me. And firing it up when I'm on the slopes.
Absolutely.
You might be at 9,000, 9,500 feet above sea level. I don't care.
Right.
I still can't breathe, so what's the point?
Right.
But,
that's this common bond between the cigar smokers that you can become friends with.
Absolutely. I remember, when I first came into the industry, and my previous territory, I covered Minnesota, and I was up in Minnesota. Minnesota.
There it is.
So
there you are.
I was checking into my hotel, and it was a nice night, and they had, the outdoor area, and there's a gentleman sitting there smoking a cigar. So, of course, we strike up conversation.
Of course.
And now, he has my number. I have his number. And if he's traveling in my territory, if he finds out I'm doing an event or something, or, if he's going someplace that, he's not been to before, he'll say, "Hey, Rob, where should I go have a smoke at?" And I didn't know him from Adam. But now, I consider him a friend. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Well, you find out how tight-knit the cigar community is. I'm
it's
the
a
same
big,
way.
small industry.
You learn a lot of the, even like the owners, who they are. And I've been to Hearst where, the owner of Ambassador is going down to La Casa, Ann Arbor to hang out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, yeah, we know each other from way back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a community.
Yeah.
And we try to keep it that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for our folks that have stuck with us this entire show.
Absolutely.
An hour
Thank you, everybody.
an hour and 15 minutes on your soapbox is fantastic, and I really appreciate that. Truly do, because your experience and your expertise is just the knowledge that you have. Just thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
you guys. We have some new friends tonight, man. So you guys, thanks for hanging out in the Man Cave.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Till next time.
Yes. Thank you.